We should all be going to the doctor. I know, even as a nurse, I don't like going to doctors. I don't. I'm gonna be the first one to tell you. But is it important? Because things happen. Your body talks to you. So if your body is saying something wrong, go get it checked out. Adult checkups, and she's going to have the children checkups too. A routine physical exam, which involves checking blood pressures, your weight, height, and other vital signs like your blood pressure, as well as discussing any health concerns or questions with the doctor. Your doctor is there for you, so you need to ask as many questions as possible. Depending on your age and medical history, your doctor might recommend additional screenings like mammograms for women, they say age of 40 and up, and they have advanced technology on mammograms, so it's not the old school machines. They do have newer machines because it is a painful process. Pap smears, which if you have pap smears, as you start having cycles, you're supposed to, it used to be every year, but every 2 years if they're normal, and you could even do every 3 years if your pap smear comes back normal. Colonoscopies, blood work, which is how they would test your like A1C, your cholesterol levels, prostate exam for men, and eye exams. Eye exams play a big part in hypertension and diabetes. You want to go with the kids' physical checkups? Okay, you want to? Everyone has a different medical need. Your ideal physical schedule depends on your health situations. If you are generally healthy, you may only need occasional preventative screenings based on your age. And then it says a general adult physical schedules, like ages 19 and 21, once every 2 to 3 years. That would include for women, the pap smears. Males don't usually get prostate exams to 40 and over, but now they're saying you could even go like 45 if you don't have any like bleeding or any symptoms. For ages 22 to 64, once every 1 to 3 years, and over 65, once a year. And that once a year could be even more frequent, depends on your health issues. If you smoke or have risk factors for certain conditions, your doctor may suggest you come in more often. If you're one of the 144 million Americans living with one or more chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, or depression, work with your physician to create a custom checkup. I'm gonna go more details. High blood pressure. How many of y'all have high blood pressure? How many of y'all, how many of y'all actually take care of yourselves? How many of y'all actually check y'all blood pressures before you take your blood pressure medicine? Put your hand down. Now I'm gonna stop on this note because I know they have wrist cuffs that you can do your blood pressures on, but from our experience, blood pressures, the wrist cuffs are not the best way. I have one where you could slide on, or the machine that you sit at home like we have back there, and you put your arm through it. Wrist cuffs are not really accurate. How many of y'all take y'all blood pressure medicine the same time every morning? Ain't none of y'all, and I'm gonna tell y'all one thing, you never stop taking your blood pressure meds abruptly. No, I don't even know why you in here, okay? I'm telling you, just never do that. Never do that. Any blood pressure, never stop taking your blood pressure meds abruptly. Like some people get mad and just say, oh, it's causing, because most blood pressure meds, how it brings your blood pressure down, it makes you urinate. You're gonna go to the restroom. That's how it brings your blood pressure down. And some medications, blood pressure med side effects is you will have swelling and stuff like that, but you'll just get mad and stop taking it. Never do that. You can cause yourself to have a heart attack or stroke, so never stop doing that. Hypertension, how they test it, because the baseline is 120 over 80, right? Used to be they would test it, you would have to go into the doctor. I did this. For 30 days straight, I went to the doctor every morning at 8 o'clock, same arm, same time, let them do my blood pressure. I was good. Nowadays, you can do it for like a week straight, and it'll give you your baseline. You'll know if you have hypertension or not. Now, if you consistently run high, the 130 is not too bad. Usually if it's over 140 and your bottom number is over 80, then yeah, you have hypertension, because they have hypertension 1, and then you have hypertension type 2. The risk of hypertension increases with age. Your blood vessels over time, they've just been worked so long that most people, as you live older, you will have hypertension. More than likely develop hypertension than other ethnicities, African Americans, due to our poor diet and health monitoring, which a lot of us, y'all say insurance is high. It is high. So if you don't have insurance, you choose not to go to the doctor unless it's life or death, which is never good. Some of us, even with the medications, it's too expensive to afford, but your health should be more important to you. One is more likely to develop hypertension if a parent or sibling has it. Hypertension can increase the risk of heart disease, heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, and blindness. Some people do have hypertension. It is genetics as well as you not eating and taking care of yourself. And I like to tell people, just because you're on the heavy side, don't mean you're gonna have hypertension and diabetes. It can, but it doesn't always mean. I know a lot of people that work out that are slim, and they have hypertension and diabetes. What is diabetes? Diabetes mellitus, commonly known as diabetes, is a chronic condition where the body cannot regulate blood sugar, your glucose levels. Blood pressure and diabetes are two different things. You have blood pressure and then blood sugar. If not managed properly, diabetes can lead to serious complications, including heart disease, stroke, kidney damage, nerve damage, eye problems, foot ulcers, amputations, and other issues. I'm gonna get more dead now. Definition of diabetes. Diabetes type 1 is an immune system destroys the cells of the pancreas that produce insulin, leading to a complete lack of insulin production. Any diabetics in here? Do y'all know if y'all are type 1 or type 2? Okay. Because some people don't know whether they type 1 or type 2, and they'll be like, I just have diabetes. It's important that you know. Type 2 is the body does not produce enough insulin. So it's still, the pancreas still produces insulin, but just not enough. And, or does not use it effectively, resulting in high blood sugar levels. And gestational is for, that's your side with the pregnant people, that's your side. Okay, so type 1 is usually genetics, right? Type 1 is. I'm type 1. I have no choice. I don't produce insulin at all. The only thing that works for me is insulin. Pills do not work. I do not take no oral pills, just insulin strictly. If I don't, my blood sugars, it's been running 500 and 600 without it. Like, I try, but I have to have it. Type 2, type 1 is not reversible at all. No matter what you do, it's never reversible. You'll die with it. Type 2 diabetes is insulin and pill form dependent. Now you can regulate, because I know a lot of diabetics type 2 that have exercised, lost weight, eat better, and they reverse theirs, or they can get off the insulin, and then eventually they can get off the pills. You can reverse type 2 by your lifestyle, how you eat, your exercise, stuff like that. You can. Gestational, you just stuck. You just stuck. This is the global diabetes statistics. Approximately 537 million adults worldwide have diabetes. The number is expected to rise to 643 million by 2030, which is true, because if you go to the ER, and you could tell me if they do that with kids too, one of the things they do is they will check your blood sugar, and it'd be people who were never diabetic or never known, and they'll be checking their blood sugars 4 times a day and giving them insulin. They never even knew it, but it's a way to get money as well. Type 2 diabetes accounts for 90% of cases. And then the United States diabetes statistics, over 38 million adults in the United States have diabetes. This is about 11.6% of the adult population. And an estimated 97 million adults have prediabetes, a condition that increases the risk of developing type 2. So a lot of times you go, and when they do blood work, they check your A1C. It's called your hemoglobin A1C. And if that number is 5.7, you are pre-diabetic. So you have to really monitor that. And then the type 2 diabetes account for 9% of diagnosed cases. Basically just saying the same That's it for my slides. With the diabetes, I want to stress, like, it is very important to take care of your feet. That is no lie. You could end up getting, even cutting your toenails. If you can't cut your toenails straight across, go to a podiatrist. It's little stuff like that that will break you down, and you end up having amputees and stuff like that. I say blood pressure, monitor your diet, take your meds, eat healthy. You want to live as long as possible, as healthy as possible, because both of these diseases break down all other organs in your body, especially when you're taking medication. I know medication cures one thing, but it breaks down everything else, especially your liver and your kidneys. I think I'm gonna let her do the kids, and then we'll do the questions. Okay, can you hold your question?
Okay, so I would take care of, sorry, I'm like the weather and everything, my allergies. So I would take care of the kid portion. So I don't know if my presentation will pop up or not, but we're just gonna go with it. So my first slide here was about vaccines. I've been noticing more and more on my unit with the children, so please, please do your own education about vaccinations and everything. That's important as well. Talk to your children's pediatrician, people that are experts in that medical field. I've been seeing a lot of more children coming into our unit not being vaccinated. Parents are not willing to vaccinate their kids for many reasons. So our doctors will have to come in and educate them and see what's the reason behind that. But I really, really, really encourage whoever your family members are that have kids or grandchildren, please see their pediatrician, talk to medical experts about why they need to get vaccinated. It's protecting them and other children that they're getting exposed to. There's a lot of viruses and illnesses are coming up every day. Even like measles are popping back up. There's an outbreak in Texas right now. So those are things that we have not heard of in years that are continuing to pop up every day. So please talk to people that are in the field that know these things before you just make a judgment or make a call for your child. The next thing is RSV. That is also another common illness that's popping up too with the pediatric population. You guys probably have seen it all over TV. There was a really bad epidemic about it a couple years ago. My unit, we got really slammed with RSV, children getting really hit with that virus. So it's very common with children that are with 6 months to 5 years of age. So it's like a common cold. So like a runny nose, a cough, congestion, shortness of breath. So those are the things like you'll commonly look for. And they always have like difficulty breathing. So usually we come in, they will get them set with oxygen and all those things because they're having a hard time breathing. With children, they're mouth breathers. So they really breathe through their mouth. So when their nose is congested, they cannot breathe as well. So we have to help them out with that. With those age range, they're hard for them to breathe. So when you're at home with your kids and they have any of those type of symptoms, have like a machine, I call them like nasal bullets, and get some like saline, suction out their nose for them too. Because at the age, they don't know how to do that for themselves. So just helping them out in that area will really help them to be effective with their breathing. Asthma, so that's another one that we have been seeing as well. A lot of children are having asthma. So with childhood asthma, same thing, they're wheezy, shortness of breath. So important for your child or your grandchild to have an inhaler, a breathing machine. Those respiratory medications are really important for them to have when they're very sick and they're in need of something. So having those inhalers for them when you're on the go, when they're at school, or any type of place that they need it, you never know when they're gonna have a moment when they need their inhalers. So please have that on them or with you as your parent. Shauna kind of already covered diabetes, but that's also a common thing that we see with the pediatrics. So type 1 has been very known in the pediatric population. They're starting to pop up more type 1, but type 2 is also common as well. It's becoming more prevalent as well. So it's important to educate. Some children now I've seen, like the youngest on my unit has been like 3 years old, brand new diabetic. So it's very, very young now for these children to be popping up with diabetes. So it's very important to be in tune with the pediatrician, talking to them. Education is very important at that age. And then mental health. So with my unit, we do get mental health cases with children as well. It's very sad. So just very important with your children. This day and age is very different, even from when I grew up. I graduated high school in 2016. So it's very different seeing kids now. They're you guys see it, very in tune with their tablets, their phones. They don't want to let go of their phone. So it's very important to be open and honest with your children, being exposed into their life and seeing what they're doing, what they know. TV, social media is a big thing, so don't be afraid to have those conversations. You guys were all children at one point too, so don't be afraid to have those conversations because it will probably save them for many different things being exposed to. And that's all I have. I kept it short and sweet.
Any questions?
I know you mentioned about high blood pressure. You said hypertension A and hypertension B. What is the difference between hypertension A and B?
Well, you have hypertension type 1, and then you have hypertension type 2. Hypertension type 2 used to be 145, 149 over 90 is your numbers. Type 1 be the 130 like over 80. That's the type 1. But type 2 is more dangerous because your blood pressure is higher. That's the difference. Now, you can't just check your blood pressure one time and be like, hey, I got high blood pressure. You have to do it consecutively for several days, same exact time, every day.
Understood.
Yep.
You mentioned the asthma about the kids. So is there asthma medication that benefits more of the African American, or like there's albuterol and then there's different, so which one should we be focusing on to help us?
I would definitely say albuterol is like our top choice, even like with our kids on the unit. Like we have a respiratory therapist. We're very thankful on my unit. We have respiratory therapists that kind of take care of that situation, but we're on all hands on deck. But albuterol is like the first line of treatment. Steroids, but if your child, after a while, I always say, even to the parents when I'm discharging their child home, they're still recovering from their illness. So if they're still having shortness of breath after you giving them 2 treatments, like every 4 hours, and they're still not recovering, and they're still having shortness of breath or wheezing, you can see like they're having difficulty breathing, then bring them back to the ER to get treated again, because obviously they still need some help. But with us, we don't discharge them just immediately. If we still see that they need some time, we're gonna keep them. But back to your question, the first line, I would say albuterol. There's really no difference because of race or anything like that. We still stick to like the same first line medication, which is albuterol, and like having their breathing treatments and everything in between.
I have a simple question. Do you guys have any handouts?
Actually, I did print out some handouts about blood pressure, asthma, high cholesterol, and diabetes as well. None of it's like really specified for like children specifically. It's more like for adults, but it can also be used in the same sense for kids as well. So I do have handouts available.
Okay, I would like one.
Okay.
First of all, I want to commend you, a beautiful presentation, and you were so right when you said to warn us about abruptly stopping medication, because in 2022, my sister did that exact thing. She abruptly stopped her high blood pressure medication because she said it made her feel funny, and sadly, she suffered a stroke that now she's in a wheelchair. But what I wanted to ask you, my grandmother died from colon cancer, so my sisters and I, we're all, our doctors help ask us to watch that very carefully. But lately, they have not given me a scheduled colonoscopy. They just get a stool sample. So from your opinion, is that pretty much the same if it was to indicate, there was a problem?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That is how they screen it. Like if you have bleeding in your stools and stuff, that'd be the first sign. And then, yeah, that is how we screen it, the Hemocolt or the Cologuard. Now they have it. But that is the way. And then if they suspect anything with that stool sample, then they will go and schedule the colonoscopy.
Okay. And then the last thing, would you comment a bit how much stress also lens to hypertension, because I was involved in a study about 3 years ago. It was called mindfulness, and we had to listen to like relaxing music at least 15 minutes a day. And I kid you not, my number, because we had to take our numbers every single morning at the same time, but my numbers just really went down. But I didn't stop taking my medication, but I couldn't believe the difference it made just spending 15 minutes a day with relaxing music or spiritual music.
Well, they call stress leads to hypertension, other issues. They call it the #1 silent killer. Because a lot of people, you're stressed so much where you will end up having a heart attack or, dying in your sleep. You don't know. Because stress is very important not to stress. I think the Bible tells us we're not supposed to worry, right? But people will come back and say, hey, we're human, yeah. But you have to balance it out. Like for the most part, me, I go with the flow. I'm not gonna let my husband or my kids stress me and kill me. Shonda love her some Shonda first, Besides God, I love me some me. I'm not gonna let them stress, because stress causes ulcers. Not just hypertension, but you'll get ulcers from stressing too. And ulcers is like bleeding in your stomach. Like, no, I don't want none of that stuff. I don't want to have to stress so bad where I get diseases where I need medication, because I don't like taking medicine anyway. So no, but stress is very important not to stress. It does lead to a lot of health issues. Way over there, huh? I know, I'm coming back. I'm back on task.
So as far as, since you were taking medication, what can we do as far as food-wise and, whatever you got, non-medical, with natural, as far as our, what did you say, liver and our kidneys? So how do we strengthen those to combat the damage that medicine does?
Really?
I would say take vitamins. Take your vitamins. Like in the cold, I know I'm not, as you can hear me, but vitamin C, elderberry, zinc, magnesium, those things are really important, especially in the cold weather. I would definitely, #1 recommendation is vitamins. That can really, really boost your immune system and all those good things. I would say vitamins for sure.
And lots of water, staying hydrated. As well as, and vitamins B1, B6, and B12 are important too. People tend to miss those. B1, B6, and B12. They're good, yeah, they really are.
Like natural remedies to avoid like any medications to be taking, like how you take medications, any other options to take that's not
She said
avoid.
to make it stronger.
To make you stronger. I apologize, make you
No, you're
stronger.
fine. She asked, is there any like supplements or herbal stuff you could take to help like make your kidneys and liver stronger? No, she was just trying to make them stronger. Yeah, water, vitamins, as well as taking care of yourself. Like as far as you eating certain foods you eat, like red meat is horrible for your kidneys, just to be honest, it is. A lot of medications you take, they affect your liver because they're filtered through your liver. So some of it you can avoid, but you can take vitamins. Vitamins do, multivitamins, they do a lot, as well as your Bs, yeah. And most of multivitamins has all the vitamins she mentioned in them.
Is hypertension, being pre-diabetic, and is that a prelude for dementia?
I've never heard that. You haven't either, huh? I've never heard that at all.
I have to research. I don't
Right.
So
know.
if you pre-diabetic, that's level 2. Diabetic.
If you're not diabetic now, like as a kid, or then if you are pre-diabetic right now at your age, then more than likely it's type 2.
Type 2.
But you could change that by diet and exercise.
Being type 2, do you ever go to type 1 from type 2?
No, no.
They're just
If you're
two
type 2,
separate-
you're type 2. If you're type 1, you're type 1.
Okay.
Which is type 1, your pancreas is basically ain't no good. They don't produce no insulin at all. So you have to have insulin regardless. You can never stop taking your insulin being type 1. Type 2, you can maybe regulate it just on pill form or insulin or both. And then you could be like, if you do good and you reverse it, you could come off insulin and pills being type 2. But type 1, you can't.
I see. Thank you.
You're welcome. They had questions.
I heard you say, we sometimes don't think to take like B1, B6, and all the other Bs. They'll tell you, usually your doctor will tell you to take these vitamins, but they don't tell you what milligram. You know, like when you go to the pharmacist or go to drugstores and you look at the bottle, it's like, well, which one should I buy? You know, shouldn't they at least give you that information? Or usually I
They
do.
usually don't have a milligram, but if you do like multivitamins, the bottle will tell you take like 1 or 2 a day. But as far as milligrams, no, because you have vitamin C's that go from 250, 500, 1,000, you know, they
Right.
all different milligrams.
Right.
It's just, you could look it up and see how much you need, like for your body size and your height and your weight. Yeah, you could look that up more in depth. Usually, and a lot of them have the same dosage as far as the Bs though, except for like B12. If you're lacking energy, you could take more B12 to give yourself more energy. Last one. Oh, look how he did me on the side.
Last question. Okay.
You got too much. What's your take? For me, I haven't.
I have
What's your take on holistic care?
I have a hot take on it just because dealing with kids, don't get me wrong, I know your parents are very protective, you know your child, and we love that. When you guys bring them, we have an idea because you guys are advocating for them. But sometimes when it comes to the point you're like avoiding care, I don't want this, I don't want that, then it's starting to become, do you want the help? It kind of gets in our way of doing our job. It kind of becomes harder to what we have to do to help your child to get them home and get them safe and get them healthy again. So I would just have you think about your reason and your intentions of bringing them in is to get them help and get them healthy again, or is it just going to be declining all the care that they need and it's going to delay their care in a sense?
And you have to think about that because the hospital has caseworkers, social workers, and at some point, some of the care that the parent don't want for their child could end up being neglect and like abandonment and abuse. So you have to be careful with that as well.
Yeah, so that can kind of get into our social worker getting involved and kind of get into a CPS situation, which we always want to avoid. We do not want that unless it has to get that way. But that's just my hot take being a pediatric nurse dealing with these things is, do you want your child to get better and feel better, or are we starting getting to the point of we're declining everything that we need to do to help your child to get better?
Yeah.
That's just my hot take, sorry.
No, it's true.
I want to say y'all have done a great job with the explanations you're giving. 2 things I want to say, a great job. Number 1, my husband always suffers from white coat syndrome when he goes in to get his high blood pressure checked, and they have to check it after the doctor's visit. What causes that? I mean, he's never wavering that. Every time we go, his blood pressure is real, real high. And then they say, what's going on with him? And he's on medication. And then after the doctor's visit, it goes back down.
Oh,
So,
it could be that stress, that anxiety when you're going into the doctor.
yeah.
That's just like if you could be in pain, right? And as soon as you go to the ER, that pain then either went away or it's 1 or 2. And you like, what happened? I was in pain. I was
Right,
sick.
right.
But that going to the doctor, it could be the anxiety, the stress.
Okay. And
I
then-
deal with that personally.
Do you?
I do. And I tell them all the time, and they're like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't want to be here.
Because they
I'm
want to
scared.
send him to the emergency room. And then
Yeah,
all of a
so
sudden he's
it's just
down.
like how Shonda said, it's the stress environment of being in the doctor's office, kind of hearing bad news. You're coming in positive, and they can
Okay,
come
I
in there
have-
and kind
yeah.
of give you negative feedback.
Yeah.
So it's just the whole stress factor of going in. You think you're getting a checkup, and then like, oh, you might have to go to the ER, or you might have to get labs. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So it just turns into a whole thing. That's
And then
I
the
understand.
second question, with the immunization, now that I have grandbabies, I'm telling my daughter, get the immunizations, get them. Her sister, as a doctor, is telling them to get them.
Yeah.
You would advise to continue to tell her to
Yes.
get the immunizations.
Yes,
And what's causing people not to get them? Are they saying why they're not getting them?
I think it's just a lack of education. It's just personal things. You see stuff, and I kind of blame social media. You have people that think they call themselves doctors and medical experts, and you have to trust the people that are in the office talking to you and that's taking care of you and your child. You need to get your vaccinations from birth to like 3-5 years of age. These children need to get vaccinated. There's too many things they're getting exposed to. Kids are coming in from daycare, all these things with too many exposure. They need to get vaccinated.
One more, Sister King.
Hold on, Sister King.
I was just going to make a comment on the sister who spoke about her family member who tends to routinely have a high blood pressure reading when they go to the doctor's office. When you spoke about that, Shonda, about getting that baseline by checking that blood pressure every day, at the same time, same arm, for at least a week to get that baseline, that could give that person some peace of mind. Just my suggestion.
And some people just run high, so it could be their baseline running high because they've had it so long, like this one up here, you know? At one point, his blood pressure was like 226 over 120. He was laying there asleep. Everybody's body is different, but listen to your body, because your body gonna tell you.
Hold on,
what's going
y'all, because I know y'all got questions. They gonna be here. They gonna be here. Y'all can, because I have to get another minister up. Again, thank them for their presentation.
I have handouts if you like. I'm sorry, Brother Andrew.
I'm waiting on the men to come back up. You can come on up, Brother Roy. One of the questions was about the holistic thing. I believe everything the doctors say, and I do everything that the doctor says. But my friend Sean Evans, he had given me some herbs. One of them was called soursop. Yeah, he gave me soursop, and I have kidney disease. And when I went to the doctor, my GFR function was at 15. Now, when you get around 15, 14, you're talking about dialysis. I started taking the soursop. The stuff is horrible. It's nasty. But I started taking it in my tea. My kidney function went from 15 to 29. So I don't know what that tells you. I take all the medicine I'm supposed to take. I take it every day. But I do mix it in with the holistic things as well, because a lot of stuff that they give you is for your health and it's good. But a lot of the herbs that come from the earth, they help us as well. So take that with a grain of salt and however you want to deal with that.
So while the rest are filing in, before we have Brother Downey come up and sing a song, I know y'all been sitting a while. Just stand up in your spot if you want to. If you want to sit down for another half hour, that's on you. Right. Stretch it out a little, you know. You've been sitting there for a while.